Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. Angela Wolf here. Another great week. And boy, do we have some fun shows for you this week. So today, I just want to know in the comments, if you were going to use Picture Play, the new fabulous feature in the Aveneer where you can take a photo and send it to the machine and turn it into embroidery with a couple clicks, where would you put it? Okay, I'm asking that because today Tina's here and I cannot wait to see. It's for apparel. And I was trying to think, okay, what would I put where? And if my mom's watching, you know where those bunnies are going. And I know you're probably going to fall off your chair laughing. So let's bring Tina Bartelmay to the group. How are you, Tina? I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait for this. And for anybody who's here that does not know Tina, Tina is a Brother Educator. She has a ton of great videos on here. She'll even be here next week with the mini quilt. But today, it's Picture Play.
All right. Yeah, I would agree. I was really excited to do this episode because when I think of Picture Play, putting it on clothes isn't the first thing that sort of pops into my mind, but it worked out amazingly well. And I think you guys are going to be super excited about the possibilities. So if you don't know, on the Aveneer, there's a feature that's called Picture Play. So you can bring in images. You can use the My Design Snap to send them in wirelessly, or you can have them on a USB. And then the machine does all the heavy lifting for you. It turns that picture into a stitch file, and it's pretty amazing and incredible.
It is. I think that is one of the coolest features. And by the way, we are live today. You can leave your comments and questions. We're live streaming on Brother Sew's Facebook and YouTube pages. And I know there are a lot of Aveneer people here because everyone's like, I cannot wait to start using this machine. So some of them have said they're afraid to start with that because they're afraid like they're going to ruin it. And you really can't. It's so simple. I'm really excited for you to show this. What I'll do is I'll take breaks occasionally to take your questions. Do you have the Aveneer? Do you have any questions? Or even, guess what I just did? Knocked over my full bobbin case.
Uh-oh.
All 144. So you're going to know what I'm going to be doing while we're watching this.
Oh, Angela, that's so funny. Oh.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you take it away, Tina. But this is going to be a lot of fun. So everyone, welcome, say hi. Tina's going to show you Picture Play, and I'm very excited about this. And anybody who'd like to come to my studio and pick up all those bobbins that just fell, have at it. The door's open.
Oh, that's hysterical. All right, so today on this episode, we're gearing everything towards apparel, but we're going to do some people picture play, we're going to do some animal picture play, and then the one that you might not see coming is we're going to take some graphic images, the kind of things that you might sublimate, say, on a coffee mug, and turn those into stitch files too. So hopefully you guys are as excited as I am. So let me tell you a little bit about it. You know, when you think about picture play, a lot of those are long stitch outs, right, with lots of stitches, and you might be a little bit worried about them being too heavy for your clothing, but I've got some good tips for you. I did a bunch of testing because I was like, I wonder if I could put it on that. So I've got some really good feedback for you and some tips and suggestions as we go through. So to get started, I'm going to pick an image of somebody that everybody will recognize. So here I am at the Aveneer, and I'm going into embroidery. And then Picture Play is right down here. So while we're in here, I actually have all the images I'm going to be working with today on a USB. So I'm going to pick the USB option here. And you saw a little sneak peek about the one we're going to do here, but we're going to pick up a picture of Lucy. And it's a really nice picture. It's on the simpler side. And as I look at it, she was my tester. I was thinking, can I get the stitch out light enough that it would work on clothing, right? So I personally don't like that it's asymmetrical here. So I went in here, I put the clipping mask to kind of round the corners, and then I just used the cropping tools to kind of make it a little bit even on both sides. But other than that, I don't really have a lot of edits I feel like I need to do. So I'll go ahead and press next. And then the Aveneer has all these styles that you could choose from, right? But for people, I typically use the original style over here. So that's where I'm going to leave Lucy, and we'll press next. Now, if you needed to, this is actually a really good picture. But when you press the button here, you have the option to adjust brightness and contrast and color saturation and those things. So remember, those are there. It's easy to forget they're there sometimes, but you can have all those options as well. And then to turn this picture now into a stitch file, all I have to do is press next. And it's going to take a couple minutes. So let's talk about some things while it's rendering. You'll be able to kind of watch it in the background. But with pictures in Picture Play, what I would say, like the critical thing to be aware of is picking good pictures, right? So examples of bad pictures would be, for example, me with my light colored skin and my light colored hair. If I were standing on a sandy beach and you turn me into a picture play, I'd probably look like Berber carpet when you were done, right? So
Berber carpet. Now that will be a whole different picture play.
it's so true though. But so when you're picking out your pictures, you're going to want things that have good contrast between your light colors and your dark colors. You're going to want really good focus. If you, especially for people, the closer up you can get the picture, the better results you're going to have when you convert them into photographs. We just looked where we can adjust the brightness and the color saturation. Now, there are some other tools that you may want to use in tandem with picture play too, right? So I will say, and I'll tell you as we go through where I use them, but you know, most of our computers have some photo editing software on them as well. So one of the pictures I had was just crazy busy in the back, and the colors were really weird. It was really hard to take out the background. So I used it for that, and also the focus wasn't quite what I wanted to, so I sharpened up the focus. So that's an example of where you can actually use photo editing software kind of as the partner to the picture play to optimize your results. All right, but let's go to the screen of the machine because Lucy has finished rendering. And you can see she looks amazing, right? That's a really good representation here. Now, the machine will default to 15 colors, which you see here. You can adjust the thread brand, and we're going to play with that a little bit later. And then you've got your density. All right, so and you look at here, even if she's a little bit less than 8 by 8, but it's over a 2-hour stitch out. So for apparel, I might be a little worried that that would be too dense. And so I'm going to do two things, and I'm going to do these same two adjustments for all but one of the things that I show you today. I'm going to take the maximum number of colors, and I'm going to take it down to 10. Because as I take colors out, I'm reducing the level of detail in the file that it makes for me. And I'm also going to take the density adjustment here, and I'm going to take it all the way down to the low density, right? Now, you may be thinking at home, so remember, it's 128 minutes. Let's go ahead and let it recalculate for us here. And then we'll come back. You may be thinking at home, oh my gosh, 10 colors, that's not going to look any good. She lowered the density. It's probably going to have all kinds of white space in it. But in reality, no, it turned out really well. So let's go look at it real quick while it's still calculating. And here you can see the stitch out. Now this one was on like a white denim, right? So it could be on a jean jacket. And again, it's about 8 by 8. It's got that lowest density setting and 10 colors. But honestly, you guys, I can see her individual eyelashes in here, right? I think that's a really good outcome. Nice bright colors. It looks true to the image. So I'm really happy with that. And based on this was kind of like my jumping off point for, okay, so picture play is actually a really cool idea to put on clothing. Now you see around the stitch out, I've got the 10 by 10 magnetic frame. And Brother does recommend that when you're stitching out your picture plays that you use one of the magnetic frames because they really are fairly long stitch outs, and the magnetic frames hold them really well. So let's pop over. Oh, looks like she's re-rendered. So let's go back to the machine real quick. So look at it in 10 colors with the lower density, right? Can you guys tell a lot of difference between those two? Because honestly, I couldn't. Isn't that incredible?
Looks so good. That really looks good.
But if you look down here, we went from 128 minutes down to 89. So literally by making those two changes, I took about a third of the stitches out of the final design, right? And so when you're talking about apparel, having less stitches means you're going to have a lighter hand, and it's not going to distort your fabric as much, right? So that was my first like aha moment. Yeah, I can make this work on clothing. So the next one, any questions before I go into the next one, Angela?
There was one quick question. Andrea said that she noticed with good contrast, she gets better results. Do you find that too?
Absolutely. The more contrast you have between your light colors and your dark colors, the more detail you're going to see rendered. And, you know, for those of you who may have some precious family photographs that you can't retake the photo, right? You don't have access to the setting or the people anymore. Some of the things that you can do to maximize the detail is the bigger you stitch it out, the more detail you get. The more colors you choose, the more detail you get. And when you think about that, the analogy I would make is kind of like us in the morning when we're putting on our makeup, right? There's a reason we have foundation and then we have blush, and then we have a highlighter, because when we add all those colors, right, we get a more detailed image when we're done, right? So picture play kind of works the same way.
That is a great way to explain that. And also, I love when you pointed out that if you have a photo that it's just not the way you want it to look, there is editing software, not with Brother, but you can even do more and bring it over and then still have all those extra tools, especially those filters, which are really awesome.
Exactly. All right. And so I just told you, remember what I just said? I just said, if you make it bigger, you get more detail, right? So my next apparel application for picture play was kind of a mind blower for me. So I'm actually going to take a picture of a little newborn baby, and I'm going to stitch it out, but I want it really small, like 3 inches-ish small, because I want to use it as the applique fabric in the middle of an applique that says mom. So the baby's picture is going to be the applique fabric in the O. Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
Whoops, I think my camera has a mind of its own right now. All right. So let's pop back over here and let's see.
Tina, your shoes are very cute. We love them.
Oh, thank you. They're comfy too. All right. So now we're going to come back into picture play. And I'm going to grab the picture of the baby that's in here. So I think it's on the next page. Yep, here's the little baby. So cute, by the way. Now think about it. Mother's Day is just hardly any time from now. So think about some of these gifts also for Mother's Day gift ideas, right? So I told you I wanted to basically make it a round shape as in the applique for the letter O. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop in here to the clipping masks, and I'm going to choose the circle. Now when it comes in initially, it's an oval. So I'm just going to use the cropping tools to kind of round it up a little bit and crop out a little bit more of the background until I have something that's more round. So that's so far so good. And then I want it to be small, so when it comes down here to my hoop selection, I'm going to tab over here and pick my 4x4 inch hoop, okay? So that's all I'm going to change here, and then I'm going to go to next. And again, it's a picture of a person, right? So I'm going to leave it in that original style, and we'll see what it's going to do. Now, I will say, while that's calculating, let's come back over here. Because it is so small, right? So the small size kind of works against me from detail. I am going to leave it at 15 colors, but we are going to play around with the density, because if I can get the density at that lowest setting, it's going to have a really soft hand, because the sweatshirt I'm putting this on is French terry, so I really don't want it to be really stiff. All right, so it looks like it's already rendered, so let's pop in and look at the screen again. So you can see the baby here. It's clearly recognizable, but I want you guys, I'm going to leave the 15 colors. I am going to adjust the density here, but I want you to kind of notice the colors here, because I did a test stitch out, and we need to talk about that for a second too. Now I picked a Madeira Poly thread brand here, and you'll notice in the baby, I have a lot of like dark browns and almost burgundy colors, which worried me a little bit, right? And that's why I decided to do a test stitch out. So let's hit the preview button. So again, just so in case you're thinking these stitch out forever, even before I make an adjustment, it's a 26-minute stitch out at this size. So we'll let it go ahead and recalibrate with a lower density. But let's go back over to my sample table, because I'm going to walk you through kind of how this turned out. All right, Angela, I almost fell off my chair that time, so.
Well, hey, it's okay, Tina, because I have picked up 0 of everything that fell off of this. So you stay in your chair, and then I'll worry about these bobbins all over my floor.
All right. So in that particular palette, I tried to match the color. I didn't have all the colors, but I tried to match as close as possible, right? So this is a little, I would say, crazy looking, right? On the plus side, it's definitely recognizable as a baby's face. On the minus side, I'm not sure, you know, that that's a complexion that would make a mother feel good about her baby. She might worry that it might be not feeling well with all those grays in it, right? But what I did here,
Tina, it looks green from this end. It's like maybe she ate something she's not, or he ate something he's not supposed to. I don't know. But, you know, I have to say, though, that is so cute. And look at how small that is.
Yeah, it's itty bitty. And oh, before I forget to mention it, my test stitch out, I put 2 layers of the no-show mesh cutaway stabilizer, and so that's all that it's stitched on. And notice how pliable it is, right? So that was another aha moment for me. So adjusting the colors, I had options, right? I could have gone into the machine and I could have picked a different thread brand and that would have changed up my colors. We'll play with that later on today. But I also happen to have, I don't know if you know, but Brother makes a flesh tone thread set. And so I went and found it. It took me a minute to find it. But when you pull this out and look at the colors, you got much lighter, kind of pinky, ivory tone colors that are better for doing like people's faces and all, right? So then I just basically stared at this and I tried to match, like, I need the dark color here, so I picked the dark one. I need a lighter pink, I picked like the one that's in here. I need in here instead of gray, I wanted some ivory, right? So I just sort of did a little hit or miss kind of thing. And then again, I put 2 layers of no-show mesh in a hoop and I sent it to the machine. And wait till you see this. This is the bomb. Look at that.
Oh my goodness gracious. Now I'm getting a visual. I was like, where are we going to put these pictures? But this is amazing. Look at how beautiful that is. That looks like a photo.
Yeah, doesn't it? And again, all I did was I took that stitch out on the no-show mesh, right? And I made the applique in the software. I did the placement stitch. I laid my little, mesh stitch out on top of it. I tacked it down. I cut away the excess stabilizer and then put the satin stitches, naked stitch on top. So it was super easy to do. And like, I couldn't be any happier with the outcome. Can you imagine giving this to a new mom for Mother's Day?
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. What do you do with a variety of thread brands? Well, Chris, I just want to bring that up just because this is obviously a Brother show, but that package of thread that you had there, Tina, that's from Brother. It's a special flesh tone package you can buy from your Brother dealer.
Correct. And just so you guys know, I know some people are like, they have a single brand of thread and they only use one brand. I'm not. I'm a multi-brand kind of girl. I buy thread based on the color. And if you looked at my thread stash, you'd see like 1,000 aquas because it's my favorite color. And you'd see like, I don't know, 10 pinks, right?
That's awesome.
But so I just look on the screen for the color. Like if I can match it to the brand, I do. But then if I don't have a mid-tone gray in whatever brand I picked, I'm sure I have a mid-tone gray in another brand. I just picked the one that looks the closest to me. And I will say, just so you know, it doesn't always work out in my favor, but normally it does.
Yeah. Well, looking at your screen though, and I think that's for somebody who has the Luminaire or the Stellaire or the Aveneer now with this picture play, the nice part is it shows you the color that's coming and it shows you where it's going. So a lot of times I won't have the exact color I should, and I do exactly what you say, like what you're talking about. It'll show me this is going to go here, and I'm like, oh, what could I have that's really close to that, and go pick that out. And I love that because you know exactly where that color is going. It's not even a guess.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing for those of you who are like looking at the stitch out times and thinking an hour, 2 hours, my goodness, how many thread changes would I have? What's cool about picture play is it lays down all of one color and then it layers all of the next color on top of it. So it's not like you start with blue and then you have 3 colors and go back to the same blue. You just do the blue one time.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, I see a couple of questions rolling. Hey, by the way, welcome back. We haven't seen you in a while. Andrea, if you have an app, she's on Facebook here. If you have an app you want to share, just drop it in the comments because I can't, if it's not a Brother, I can't mention it, but feel free to drop it in the comments and share it with your sewing friends. Julianne, what do you got? Is the flesh thread available online if my dealer doesn't have it? Do you have a number for ordering it? I don't have my box here. You have your box. Is there a number on that box?
And honestly, I looked this morning because I wanted to make sure it was still in the product line, and I found like 25 of them came up in the first 3 seconds. It looks like the product number is EFT10PKG.
EFT.
Here, we'll go back to the overhead camera. You can see the back of the box here.
Yeah, good idea. Here you go, guys.
So it's EFT10PKG. So it's almost like embroidery flesh tone 10 colors package is what it stands for.
Perfect. Yeah, that is, oh, your cameraman's great. Oh, look at that. That picture, I could just stare at that all day. So I have to ask, when you did the MOM, I mean, obviously we know what you did with the O, but when you did the border on the outside of that M, Did you do that in my design center, or is that like a candle wicking stitch, or is that bling?
I did it in BES silver, which for many of the Aveneer owners was bundled in with their machine. So I picked an applique font, I shaped it, and then I basically did a normal applique. So placement tack down satin, and then I duplicated the satin but turned it into a blanket stitch. So I layered it on top of it. And I love that technique because it brings in a second color and it has a really cool look.
That looks really good. Honestly, when I'm looking at it from here, it looks like you just took a photo and stuck it right on a shirt, which you know how long that would last on a shirt. It looks so perfect. And that little outside, though, just really, that bling just brings it all together. As always, Tina, the best samples ever.
Oh, thank you. Now, I didn't make one of these yet, but just for some other ideas that I picked up from customers that I've talked to when I've been out traveling is, there's one customer that I see fairly often who does a lot of portrait work for people using picture play. And I lovingly say she's a perfectionist, right? So she doesn't like any white showing through in the stitch out. And so what she started to do is print out the photograph using the Print Moda printer, and then bring it into picture play, turn it into the stitch file, and use the projector on the machine to layer the stitch file on top of the printed photograph. And I will say they look pretty awesome. So that's another idea for you guys if you've got the Print Moda and the Aveneer.
That's wonderful. Patty says she did so everyone's doing a search. Are you guys watching the show, or are you guys shopping? And Janice said she loves being here. You're new to embroidery. Oh, Janice, if you're new to embroidery, if you get really bored on a weekend, it's raining, go back and binge watch these shows. There's so many great tips for you. And what machine do you work on, by the way? We'd love to know.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Great.
Any other questions? And those on Facebook, Andrea dropped a name of an app if you're looking for something extra. I know I love PE11. Patty said, we're women. We're multitasking. Yeah. Me too. I'm doing my workout, picking up all my bobbins, and I only have 2.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, so now let's segue. I've got some animal options for you because, you know, some people have babies and some people have fur babies. So let's look and see what we can do with some animals. So we're going to start off over here on the machine, and I'm just going to come back into picture play here. And I've got a beautiful tiger, and you'll see in a minute, I actually have it on the back of a suede blazer, and it looks pretty amazing, if I do say so myself. So we're just going to pop in here and scroll down to my tiger picture. Isn't he pretty? I mean, has anyone ever seen an unattractive tiger? I'm not sure they exist, right? So I told you it's going on the back of a jacket. So 8x8 is a decent size for that. That's kind of what I picked. So I just scroll over here to the 8x8. And then it doesn't look like it, but I don't know if you can see on camera, but there's a white border around the picture. I could remove the border, but it's just as easy to come in here and basically crop it in. So I take off all the white. If I don't do that, then the white parts are going to stitch out with white thread around the edges, and that's not really the look I was going after. And then for this one, I wanted the rounded corners, so I picked this clipping mask as well. And then we'll say okay. And honestly, I don't have any other edits. That picture is beautiful, right? So we'll just go next. And I am going to go ahead and leave this in the original style. And we'll let him render here. And I guess you guys can probably already guess the edits I'm going to make once it renders, right? I'm going to reduce the colors down to 10, and then I'm going to reduce the density to the lowest amount because, again, it's on clothing, and I want to make sure that it has a light hand. Now, on the jacket, let's go to the camera, and I'll show you the sample really quick. I was going to stitch it directly on the suede blazer, right? By the way, here's the outcome. Isn't that pretty?
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
So I was going to stitch it directly on the blazer, but when I turned it to the other side and I looked at taking all the, I decided that undoing the lining and redoing the lining was probably going to take more time than I really wanted to do. So I opted to a patch technique instead. All right, so as you guys are looking at this, I basically stitched it on black wool felt. I had one layer of the mesh cutaway stabilizer underneath just to give it the support. But the felt has quite a bit of structure to it, right? So you don't have to overstabilize. I should say this, on all of my stitch outs, I use a water-soluble topper when they're stitching because I think it just gives the stitches that extra little bit of loft and makes it look a little bit better. So that's kind of my, always have a water-soluble topper. I'll show you lots of different stabilizing options as we go through today because I tried lots of different things to see how light I could get it to work. You see back here, my tiger has already rendered. He looks amazing in 15 colors. But again, for apparel, and he's what, 106 minutes. So we're going to take him down to the 10 colors again, and we're going to take the density all the way over here, and we'll hit the preview button again while we're looking at it. But again, he looks really good on this jacket, right? It's got a, even when I'm holding it, right, it's got a nice soft hand to it. It's not really stiff. I was a little worried about the patch adhesive sticking to the jacket. I hesitated on that one for just a minute because you don't really want to ruin a suede blazer, but it worked really, really well.
No, you don't want to ruin that. When you had that overhead camera on that absolutely looks like a picture. You would not know it's embroidery, and the texture just really brings that out. So you embroidered that on what fabric?
So I did black wool felt, kind of a premium felt kind of thing, with one layer of the mesh cutaway stabilizer underneath and then a water soluble topper on top.
Wow. Easy to do. Absolutely beautiful. Everybody's saying, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Yeah, I agree.
And you don't have to worry about ruining anything, right? Because it's a patch. If it doesn't turn out on the felt, I mean, you got more felt, right? That's not really a hard thing. So here you can see he's been redigitized and he's down to 74 minutes. So again, at 10 colors and low density, and this is the version of him that I stitched out. And he looks great, right? Like he looks amazing. Now I do want to talk about another thing. So those of you who are let's see, more detail oriented than I am. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say that. You may have a picture of someone or something and you have a very strong idea about what the color should be. And when the machine renders your picture, you may be like, meh, that's not the color of green I wanted, or that's not the color of brown I wanted, right? So I'm going to give you a tip for some options that you have if you're trying to get something to exactly match something else, right? So you notice here on my tiger, I have him in the Madeira thread palette. And as we're looking close in on his face, right, you see a lot of browns and rust tones and some golds, right? So one of the ways that you can experiment with other colorways is, let's go over here and let's change the brand, right? Let's pop it over to, this is one of the Brother thread palettes. We're going to leave everything else the same and we'll let it recalculate again. And the reason that I want to talk to you about this is the different brands, some have more colors than others. Some tend to have warmer tones. Some tend to have cooler tones. And so rendering it in the different brands can actually give you some interesting options that you may not have anticipated. And again, like I told you, I'm a multi-brand thread kind of girl. So if they come up with a color I hadn't thought of, I probably have something close to it in my thread stash. So it's just a different way, especially if you're like me. I'm not so good at picking colors myself all the time. And so I appreciate having the assist. All right, so he's now re-rendered. Let's go in and look close. So in the Brother palette, where they tend to have warmer colors, you notice here around the nose area, we're picking up some olive and browny green kind of tints. He still looks amazing, but we've changed the colors because we've chosen a different thread palette. So again, I encourage you guys, when you're playing with it, it's much faster to render it many times to try out different options than to stitch them all out. But play around with that as an option. But I'm going to give you one other thing that I think you should play with as well. So let's go ahead and set this guy and bring him into the embroidery side of the machine. So now he's in here. Your other option is basically to come into edit and go here where you pick your thread colors, right? And let's scroll down in here. See, I have all this dark gray and black down in here. Let's say I wanted a little bit of a different look, right? Let's pick, let's say this one, because I think I want this one. I really want those blacks because that's going to make it pop, but I think I can play around with this one. And let's slide down in here. And instead of that dark gray, let's pick one of these kind of like blue, gray, green kind of colors like this. Isn't that cool? It's similar, right? But it's a little bit less photorealistic, a little bit more artsy. And then let's pop over to my sample table because I stitched it out with kind of the blues in there. So here he is all in browns. And check it out with the blue, right? You wouldn't think.
Oh my goodness.
right? You might think, hey, blue doesn't work on a tiger, but it's actually kind of cool.
That's really beautiful. Okay, in the chat, what do you guys like better, the first one or the second one? The blues or the non-blues? It makes it pop. It really makes that white just pop.
Yeah, it's crazy. So again, like I'm not good with color. I think I've told you guys that a lot of times. You know, the only thing that keeps me from being an artist is a lack of talent and no color theory. But
Yeah.
the machine has these other options that make it easy for you to experiment with colors without, without feeling like, oh gosh, this is going to be so hard, right? Just play with it.
Yeah, that absolutely looks gorgeous. Everybody's saying the blues. I think it's like unanimous. Well, it just makes it pop. I mean,
Yeah.
let's look at both those again.
All right, let's look
I
at
know
them.
some people watch this and they're probably looking down. They're like, wait, do it again. Okay, so the one on the right is the original.
Uh-huh.
One on the left is the blues.
Yeah. Isn't it
Wow.
cool? Yeah. So definitely don't be afraid to push some extra buttons and do a little experimenting, because I think you might be pleasantly surprised at the outcomes.
Unbelievable. Hey, Lorraine said, could you tell one more time what fabric you used?
Yeah, I used black wool felt, because I didn't want to use the regular kind of felt at the craft store, because you know how sometimes it gets kind of fuzzy after you've had it for a while. The wool one holds up better, and I mean, it did a great job. It looks great.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Joni wants to see the neons. Oh gosh, she's going to be embroidering more.
All right.
Pretty
cool. All right. So, lots of people have dogs on it. You guys have heard me talk about it. I have dogs. I have a love for dogs. So we've got some fur baby projects from the picture play as well. So let's just pop back in here. And two different ones. So I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think about these. I actually was surprised with both in a happy way. So that's the good news. So the first one is an adorable little Boston Terrier. All right. So we'll pull her. Look how cute. She's so cute.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead and set. Now, I don't know about all this stuff down in here, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop her up to about her chest and shoulders. I don't need the rest of it. We'll kind of, you can see the background's already been removed from this image, so I don't have to worry about that here. Otherwise, she's great here. From a size perspective, she's going on a lightweight denim shirt, so I think if I remember correctly, I picked the 6 by 10 inch hoop because I wanted it to be long and narrow, so that looks great. We'll say okay. Don't really have anything else I have to change here, so we'll go ahead and let her render. And so while she's calculating, this is going to talk to you about a couple of things. So this is an example of an image that I did a little pre-work in a photo editing software before I brought it in. It had a crazy weird background where the colors matched a lot of the colors in the dog, and it was hard to remove it. And the dog itself, the image was really complicated, so I used that editing software to take out the background, but I also simplified the image some, so it's a little bit more like a drawing now than a photograph, but it performs really, really well in the picture play. So you can see she's already rendered here. Doesn't she look amazing? Oh my gosh, so good. Now, of course, down to 10 colors, because it's that lightweight denim shirt, and we're going to take the density down to the lower. And then while that's previewing, I want to step over to the sample table because I actually need y'all's help on part of this next one, okay? So this is kind of the audience opinion poll again. So first, let's look at the dog on the shirt. Look how good that looks.
Goodness, I'm sorry. These are absolutely gorgeous, Tina. I mean, that looks so good. I mean, not that I'm shocked, but I mean, I think a lot of people watching this with me are like, oh my gosh, that looks wonderful. Because you hear somebody say, if you're going to embroider and it's going to be a picture, it'll be okay. That's beautiful. Every single sample has been gorgeous.
Isn't he good? He turned out really well. So again, this is one of those lightweight. It's probably closer to a cambray weight than a denim shirt. So one layer of no-show mesh is all I used. And of course the water-soluble topper, but see, it's still supple. It's light to the touch. You got all the detail and the shadowing and everything in the dog, right? But wait, because did you know that Artspira has a little Boston Terrier in the Artspira app? So now you can use Artspira and the fonts on your machine to do a little cuff detail. Pretty cool, right?
Oh, so cute. Did we just lose you? We lost you for a sec, Tina. It's so cute that you disappeared. All right, she's back. It was like a flip and a... Okay, quick question for you on here. Someone said, could you, one more time, what's the fabric you did with this dog?
So it's a denim shirt from one of the big box stores, but it's a lightweight denim, not the really crunchy ones, but the soft ones. And then I did one layer of the mesh cutaway stabilizer inside and the water soluble topper on top.
So you did it directly on that garment. That's what somebody was asking.
Directly on the garment. And you don't see any puckering at all, right? It looks amazing.
No puckering at all. Absolutely no. None. I see a couple questions about the wool. We'll get to those in a sec. I'll let her keep going here and then I'll take a quick stop.
No, you know, I don't know about you guys, but we have lots of, I have lots of Brother machines. So I also happen to have the scan and cut. So why not add Bella's beautiful name here with, and this is the Puff HTV, which I had never used before. It's so cool. It's textural and it kind of pops right off the surface. Isn't that adorable for like a fur baby Mother's Day present?
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I'm having so much fun watching the comments. Oh my gosh, you did it on a hat. I love it. I love it. So if you missed that was from Art Spira there. Yeah.
So again, you know, those of you who are like me and maybe you have an embroidery machine and you have a scan and cut and you're using the Art Spira app, you know, bringing them all together makes it a party.
Absolutely. That one is definitely, I would wear that nonstop. I don't even have a dog, but I would wear it.
All right. Now the part where I need you guys' feedback. So we're going to go back to the sample table for a second, because I don't know if this has ever happened to any of you, but have you been working on a project and you're like, is it done or do I need to add like the one more thing to it? And I just couldn't decide. So in addition to Bella's name, I cut out these little hearts with little puppy paw prints. And originally, now that they're all stuck together in my hand here, originally I was thinking we could put them out here, you know, like little love bubbles around the dog. And then
that's cute.
But I couldn't decide. Is that one too far, or should I go ahead and do it? So this is where I need you guys to help me out. I really couldn't decide. What do you think? With the hearts or without the hearts?
All right, let's take a poll. With the hearts or without the hearts? I just have to tell you that I'm just looking at the eyes on that dog. They look so real. Yeah,
it's crazy, right?
Oh my gosh. Is there, okay, let's see. Is there a particular way to get started with the Stellaire, the Scan and Cut, and Art Spira? Well, first of all, Madcraft, if you have the Stellaire 2, be sure to register your machine. You'll have free access to the masterclass. We have a ton of videos here. We do the Scan and Cut usually on Thursdays, although we've had quite a few on Tuesdays. Go back to Brother Craft's YouTube page and check that out. And there's a ton of Art Spira stuff on there too. And there's actually videos in Art Spira. So hopefully that'll help. And I know in the masterclass, I showed how to set up Art Spira on your machine to show you how to like just get the basics down. Lynn says, do it. Everyone's saying with the hearts, with some of the hearts, Terry says, with the hearts. Oh my gosh, I think it's, we got one without the hearts.
All right.
Everyone else says with the hearts.
All right, hearts it is. I'm going to add those hearts. Next time you see the puppy, she's going to have hearts on her.
With the hearts, everyone's like, with hearts. Deborah says, nope, no hearts. So you got 2 no's, lots of yeses. Oh my gosh. Yeah, for a little girl, this would be so good. Oh, Carol says no. And Carol said she's actually seen your samples in person. She loves your work.
Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. All right. Thank you guys for the assist, because I was like, do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. So now I think I need to do it some.
Do it. Hey, Cindy, hopefully you caught my box. I can't remember. I mailed it a couple days ago. All right, there was another question here for you. Oh, 2 actually. One is a squirrel question.
Perfect.
Y'all know what that means, squirrel. Joni wants to know, the background, is it a piece of fabric with butterflies embroidered on it, or is that a quilt?
So it's a fabric panel, the flower part, and then the butterflies were cut out on the Scan and Cut. So the black is a heat transfer vinyl, and then the orange is a batik fabric that had the fusible on the back, so they were ironed together. You probably can't see, but there's little rhinestones along the edges of their wings. And then the whole thing was quilted with the edge-to-edge quilting feature and then the border feature.
Wow, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Paula said, I'm so glad to see some Aveneer activity. I know, I am too. I love it. I can't get enough of it. By the way, do you pre-wash your fabric for when it's that wool that you were talking about, the wool felt, to prevent shrinking or not?
Yeah, I did not. So, and it's a suede jacket, so it's going to be dry clean. So I think I'm going to be fine with that. If I were going to put it on a garment that I was laundering, I would probably pre-shrink it.
Yeah. That sounds good. Cindy, what I said was I mailed you a box. I'll see you next week on the live shows and let me know when you get it. A little surprise for you. I think it's the same Cindy. Yeah. From Florida. Can this be done on the Luminaire?
Picture play is only, the Aveneer is actually the only machine in the Brother lineup that has picture play. So your other option is we do have photo stitch capabilities in the PE Design 11 embroidery software.
Sounds good. Matt Crafts, send me a message. I can give you some more information. Just you can message me on Facebook or info@Angela Wolf, and I can help guide you in the right direction there. Everyone's saying great tutorial. Any other questions here? There's some more no hearts. You got, I don't know, you're going to have to go back. We got no, we got yes.
All right, maybe I'll just leave it as a maybe, and I'll let the mother of the fur baby make that decision. How about that? That sounds like the best plan, right?
There you go. Andrea said she's on overload. Information overload. She wanted to print her pets on fabric. She's got the print moda and make a quilt out of it. That would be gorgeous.
Oh,
absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh, you could have so much fun with this, combining some of the embroidery. Well, that's the best part of Brother. They've given us so much stuff that it's like, what do you want to mix? You got the Art Spira, the Scan and Cut, the print moda, you've got the sublimation printer and embroidery. I think that, I mean, like, what more do you need?
I would agree. Maybe an assistant, right?
Yeah. So, instructions and somebody to come and pick up all these bobbins.
Yeah, that would actually be great. All right. So I also have another one, right? I said at the beginning that, so we've done pictures of people, we've done pictures of pets. I don't know how many of you think, when you think about picture play, think graphic images, the kinds of stuff you might sublimate, say, on a mug. But that's what our next little run through is going to be. So let's go to the sample table again, and let me tell you how this started. So I made this for my daughter. So it's a cartoonized graphic image of her dog, right? She's super happy with it. But it's, you know, she doesn't have kids, but she has her little fur baby. So I thought, I wonder if I could take that same graphic image and bring it into picture play and do something with that. And the answer, I'll tell you, I'll skip to the end. The answer is yes. So let's pop over to the machine and let's see. Because when you start now thinking about all the graphic images you guys might have from your other projects, and then bringing them in and using picture play, that's a whole other world of opportunity, right? So I'm going to go in here and we're going to grab the picture. So Woody. Now this cartoonizing that you see in here where, you know, it doesn't look like it's realistic. That's an example of some of the things that you can do in some of those photo editing programs as well. So we're going to set the picture of the dog. Now I know that it has a background in it. So I'm going to come in here. And if I didn't remove the background on this guy, all this white area would actually stitch out with white thread, and that's not what I'm going for. So I'm going to come in here and tell the machine to remove my background, and then we'll just check and make sure that it got it the way I wanted it to. All right, so that looks great. So whenever you're looking at image and you have the gray in the background, that means that you won't have any of that stitching out, which is exactly what I want here. All right, now I'm going to put this at the bottom of the leg of a pair of jeans, right? And they're kind of, they're the wide leg ones that are popular now. So I need this guy probably to be in an 8x8 inch hoop again. So we'll change the hoop size here. And otherwise, I don't really see any other edits I want to make. So we'll just come in here. I am going to use it. Now it's not realistic, but I am going to go ahead and leave it in that original style for today. And we'll let it work on digitizing. So maybe while it's calculating, let's go over the sample table and I'll show you the stitch out. This was actually the first one I did. And so look at that. Is that not the cutest thing ever? I love that.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
So it's down at the bottom of the pants. Now I did this one first, so I was a little, if you look on the back side, I was a little bit of a chicken in terms of stabilizer. It is on denim, but I was like, oh my gosh, I should probably use that like paper cutaway, 2 layers of it, water soluble on top. And it looks great. There's no puckering, but it's heavier. You know, it's a little stiffer than it needed to be. The denim, I think, had plenty of weight that I could have gotten away with just putting the mesh cutaway on the back. But look at that. It's just, I mean, his eyes, he looks so sad and soulful. Colors. He looks amazing on the pair of jeans. And it looks like the machine over here has rendered him. So we'll just pop back to the screen. But the same edits I've done before, right? I just took the colors down to 10 and the density down to the minimum. Now, the other thing I thought while I was doing that, because that turned out better than I expected, right? So then I'm like, what would be kind of fun is what if we took lettering, right? Like all the t-shirts that you have that say whatever. Well, this puppy happens to be a little rescue dog, right? So I thought, wouldn't it be cute to embroider like rescue mom down the leg of the pair of jeans? And I kind of wonder what it would look like in picture play. And guys, this was surprising and amazing to me. So I got to share it with you. All right. So we're going to pop in here. And I had Rescue Mom. So this is basically a font that was on my computer. Okay. This kind of has that kind of a graffiti style to it, if you would. So we'll bring it in all the way. So there's my lettering. I'm just going to come in here and pick a hoop side. And I think I've already taken the background out of it. We'll find out in a minute here. All right. So let's go to next. Yeah. So I have a gray background here, so that means that the background has already been removed. And let's go ahead and let that digitize. Now it's going to come in as 15 colors, and then I'm going to reduce it down to 1 color. But while that calculates, let's just go back to the sample table because I want you guys to see how it turned out, because this might be my new favorite way to do embroidery lettering.
Oh my.
It's like a graffiti scribble text style. I love it so much. I can't even say enough good things about it, right?
That looks absolutely amazing. That does not look like embroidery from just looking. It looks like, I don't even know what you'd call it. I mean, it's so cool looking.
I know, I love it. Now I use the 40 weight embroidery thread. And just so you know, on stabilizer, I put wash away in the back. Right. And then I didn't even put the water soluble topper on the top and stitched out. It was 8 minutes and it filled up that whole ginormous Aveneer hoop, right, to stitch it out. It goes pretty much all the way down the leg of the pants. But it looks amazing. But now I want to go back and do it with the 30 weight thread so that the stitching is even kind of thicker. It'll maybe look like hand embroidery, but the style is so cool and it looks so good with a dog, right?
It looks amazing. That's it, Diane. That's what I was trying to think of. Silk screening. That's exactly what it looks like from here. That's absolutely gorgeous. What a great idea. I never even thought of using fonts.
Right. I hadn't either. But once you start playing, like I spent a whole day playing with different kinds of images, trying to kind of see what would happen. Because again, that whole idea of doing it on Apparel was kind of a mind blower for me. Right. And I mean, once you start, the first one is kind of like the gateway drug, right? And then everything after that.
Everything else comes. Yes, Carol, she did this on the Aveneer. Yes. Delia says, I might have to trade in my Luminaire for this one. I mean, this is so cool. And, the more, the Aveneer hasn't been out very long, the more that we play in some of these things. I mean, this picture play is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So inspiring.
Pretty cool, right? So then I thought, right, so we did a patch application on the jacket, but then I thought, jeans have the 2 back pockets. So what if we made iron-on patches for the back pockets, right? So check this out.
I know, Diane. I love all this too. This is so fun.
All right, so here was an image I found. I call it Cartoon Dog. I have very descriptive file names here.
Look at that.
Isn't he cute? He's kind of in that same kind of genre, right? And I measure my pockets. I think I need my thing to ultimately be about 4 inches wide. So I came in here to the hoop size and I picked the 5x7 frame. So that gets me about where I want it. All right, and then let's see. We don't have to crop it because there's no background here. So same kind of deal. Even though he's clearly like a comic book diagram, I'm still going to convert him in the original style here. But what I want to show you is, we played with a couple of things, right? We played with a couple of things on the colors, right? We played around with change your thread palette, or then go in and just, pick a color that's in there and change it to blue, even though that blue, you wouldn't think about blue on a tiger, right? But the other things is, remember, we have a lot of features that are on the Aveneer, right? So this one, we're actually going to be using the easy applique option to convert this embroidery design now into a full freestanding iron-on patch, right? So just remember that picture play doesn't have to play by itself, right? You can use it along with some of the other features on the machine, or even some of your other machines, right, to create some pretty cool looks. So it looks like, oh, there, he chugged along pretty quickly here, right? So he's super cute. You can see he looks just as good as he did in the picture, to be honest with you, right? So again, the one that I'm going to show you in a second, I did go ahead and reduce the colors and the density, but we'll just leave this one here for now. So I'm going to set him so he opens up on the embroidery side as a design for me. And then you'll notice here, right, if I put him on fabric and stitched him out, he may fray around the edges, right? I may have some issues with it. So to turn him into a patch, it's as simple as press the edit button, then press the easy applique button here. And I've got the My Connection feature loaded on mine. That's why I have two choices here. This one would be if I were trying to turn parts of the design into applique, but I actually want to make it into a patch, so I'm going to go to the one on the left. And then for this particular application, I don't want a buffer of space between the design and the satin stitches. I want the distance to be 0, so that's perfect. And then just so it'll look more like what I actually stitched out, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the color for the satin stitch, the finishing stitch, to black. All right. And that's it. That's how easy it is to make a patch that incorporates picture play. So let's pop over here and see what my patches look like on the back pockets of the jeans here.
You're going to have people vying for these jeans. Oh my goodness. Look at how fun this is.
So here's my little dog, right? He's been stitched. He's got the satin stitch border. I've got the patch adhesive already on the back, right? So he pops right off the backing paper, and I'm ready to fuse him over here. But look, I made him a little friend over here on the other pocket that's already been ironed on.
These are the best dog jeans ever. I love it. Susie, I can definitely see your little Zoe going on these jeans all over the place. This is cute, Tina. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I know, Patty, those are cute dogs. It's amazing how small. I think I'm so glad you're showing this, because a lot of people think that when you're going to use the picture play, it's always going to be a big old picture. And these are little itty bitty photos, or not that big, that you can use them, especially that baby. Oh my goodness.
Isn't that fun?
This is so much fun.
If anybody's looking for a business, if you go out to one of the online like handmade items, the sites that sell them, you will be amazed at what people are charging for like a picture play dog and a sweatshirt. We're talking close to $100, right? Like
wow. Yeah, that is a good way to make a business. Take a picture of somebody and then embroider while they're walking around the show. I know, so cute. Janet wants to know, can you use color shuffling on this?
You can. I think it's probably dependent on the picture that you chose. Like this guy, it might be a little hard to see because he's already got a lot going on, but let's go in and see. So we'll come in here and then we'll choose the color shuffling button. Oh, no, he's not letting me go. Let's see. What if I go back before I put the satin stitches on? Let me see about that.
That was a good question. I haven't tried it because there's already so many colors.
I did it with the tiger and it works. Let's see if I can do it now. Okay, so before I make it into an applique, I can play around with it. So we'll go into random and we'll just let it auto pick for us. So yeah, you can kind of go through and we can say refresh. I would guess that your results are going to be dependent on what you choose. I mean, this one has a lot going on, so it's probably not a great candidate for color shuffling, but yes, you can use color shuffling as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Also, if you knew that you're working on a project and you want these 5 colors, you can pick those 5 colors and it will match. So that's a great idea too. Oh my gosh, even more possibilities. Oh yeah, PE design, Patty. You can do take your pictures into PE design. I see a few people here that say they don't have the Aveneer. How can I do this? PE 11. Right. You can do that in, and then send it to the machine.
Yep.
Great idea. See, even more options. Oh my gosh, Tina, this has been a fantastic show. What great samples. You must have spent days embroidering to get these finished.
No, I think it was maybe 2 days off and on. But I have more than one machine, so I would create it on the Aveneer and stitch some on the Aveneer and some on other machines. So that helps.
That's a good way. That's a good way to get them all done. I was thinking, my goodness, you're like Superwoman. That'll be our next picture play. Oh my gosh, I did it again. I got to quit moving my hands. This is what it is. It's this little thing, not a Brother product, guys, but I broke one. This used to be really tall to put your thread on, but it kept breaking. Now I just broke one of the things off. But I broke 2. I think this is going in the trash now, but it worked great because I could put all my bobbins on there. It works really good as long as you keep your hands to yourself.
Maybe you should get that double-sided tape for the bottom.
That's a good idea. Some hook and loop tape. All right. Any other questions for Tina? What a great samples, great tutorial. I saw somebody here that just said they just got the Aveneer, don't know where to start. First of all, don't forget to register your machine. You'll have free access to the master class, and then come back over here on Tuesdays. We're showing the Aveneer every week for the next quite a while. All right. And I don't see any questions. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. I hope you feel encouraged to try picture play on Apparel. It works out way better than you might think it would.
I think I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. I think this is just great. Everyone's saying make a vest to go with your jeans next time.
Okay, all right. I love that.
Helen wants to know, do you teach classes? You going anywhere? Can they find you?
Yeah, I think I'm out. I'm in 3 different places in May. I'll be at a dealer in Florida, and then I'm at the Rusty Barn in Salt Lake City, and also the one outside of Denver.
All right, there you go. Everybody's saying thank you. You're welcome. Patty says I need to do some picture play on my jeans. I'm so inspired right now. I've got, Maxine outside, the squirrel. I think I'm going to have squirrels everywhere.
Oh, love that. Love it.
I know. I also have a raccoon that was sniffing a skunk on my deck. So I got a picture of that. I don't think I would put that on my jeans, but it would make a great gift for somebody.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Oh, everybody's saying thank you. Well, Tina, thank you so much. This was a great tutorial. And again, as you guys get rolling on your machines, come back and watch these shows. You can, if you're on YouTube, go to Brother Sews, click on the live shows, and you can binge watch. This is episode 492. That's a lot of episodes. And also, if you're on Facebook, share this to your page, send it to your friends. You'll never lose it. You can watch it over and over. You did such a great job explaining. There aren't even any more questions. So this was fantastic. All right, Tina, we'll see you next week. You're doing a mini quilt, I believe.
That's right. I get to use even more toys next week. Can't wait.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a great day. I will see you, Fashion Sewing Club. I'll see you in an hour. Brother, I'll see you on Thursday. We've got Lynn Lilly coming. She's going to be doing sublimation over on the crafts page, and we're doing yard flags. So, all right, more fun stuff. Bye. Bye.